I want to thank everybody for being here, and obviously this is another project that many of the naysayers said would never get done here in the city of Springfield, and there are many, many projects that have now come to fruition and more to come. But I want to thank Congressman Neal, Chairman Neal. His stick-to-itiveness has been tremendous, and I want to thank Governor Baker. This has been a great public-private partnership with the federal government, state government, my local team, all working together for this pivotal, not only transportation project, but economic development project here. And I'm very hopeful, and I know Chairman Neal is working very hard on the federal level, as with Governor Baker on the state level, that if an infrastructure, when and if an infrastructure program comes about, Union Station can continue to be a catalyst for not only transportation, but economic development, enhancing Western Mass, the whole state, and very hopeful east-west rail moving forward. Before I bring up the speakers, I've been drafted as the MC. I want to also give a shout out to my SRA board. Chris Moskal, unfortunately my director has the flu, but Chairman Armando Feliciano is here, and the wonderful Dot Laurie. Let's give them a round of applause. And Attorney Tom Moore, aka James Bond, Paul Stelzer, the management team that is here, and Representative Bud Williams is also here. Buddy, appreciate you being here. And I got to give a shout out. It's like a sitcom coming back, but 30 years ago, it's great to see my dear friend and my mentor and former and only female mayor in the city's history, Mary Hurley, Judge Hurley, who's here. And my Chief Development Director, Tim Sheehan, who we were all together 30 years ago working for Mary in her office. So it's sort of back to the future. With that, I'm going to introduce the Undersecretary of MassDOT, Scott Bosworth, who does not have a coat on. He's a hearty New England soul. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I'll be really quick so you can hear from the people you're here for. Listen, it's an honor to be here on behalf of Secretary Pollack and the folks at MassDOT. You know, this is a project that we've worked on for many, many years, very excited about. Certainly, she asked me to pass along her appreciation, our appreciation to all people involved, our consultants, our contractors, our staffs and things, certainly the mayor, the chairman, and certainly our boss, Governor Baker. So as I look at this platform, it's a symbol. It's a symbol to me as, you know, the chairman's commitment to transportation. I think I've worked with you and your staff on 5 transportation bills and 12 extensions of that bill. But more importantly, it's really a reflection of his commitment to his district, a dogged commitment to his district. And I see it also as a symbol to Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito's commitment to partnerships with the municipalities and connectivity and mobility. So as far as partnerships, I do just want to thank a few people, and I hate to single out, but I do want to thank Jim Ang. He's our deputy rail administrator, and he's got a lot on his hands, but he became the project manager here. Chris Moskal from the I don't know if he's here. Unbelievable, thank you. And from Amtrak, a gentleman I guarantee he's not here, Tom Moritz. Really helped us get this done. So thank you on behalf of Secretary Pollack. We really appreciate the partnership, and we'll continue it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim, thank you. I apologize on that. So, you know, when you talk about the New York Yankees, they always say the house that Ruth built. So when you talk about Union Station, we talk about the house that Neal built. Put your hands together for our Congressman, Chairman Richie Neal.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, very much for those nice remarks, and to Governor Baker and Mayor Hurley and Representative Williams, who've been great partners along the way in my time and career, participated in my own steep climb. Always a word of personal gratitude to everybody that's here. But also to point something out before I acknowledge the mayor and the governor on this. When Scott Bosworth spoke a moment ago, he is indicative of congressional staff, right? I mean, that's where he learned the lessons along the way. I would say to my staff, you got a question, you call Scott Bosworth. because he's going to get you an answer. Plus, he's always going to get back to you. So I was saying to the governor at a meeting we had earlier that when we were doing USMCA, my negotiating partner on the other side was Bob Lighthizer. And when somebody said to me at the beginning, before I really had met him, they said, well, the U.S. trade rep, he worked for Bob Dole. I said, he worked for Bob Dole? We're going to get a deal. Because they know what they're doing. And so you run into these obstacles today where people would rather have their talking points and go to their corners, because there's a lot of ways it's easier than doing the complicated stuff. So this station that was vacant for 43 years, if you walk through now downstairs, you can see the activity. You can see, we arranged that, Liz, we mentioned that, to make sure a train came by. I said, make sure the train comes by when the governor's there. It's really important, and it's pulling in. But the point that I wanted to make is that when you go through downstairs, you can see what activity does. The facility is 72% rented already, and based upon the statistical data that was published last week by the Connecticut Department of Transportation, how successful has CT Rail been? Unbelievable. Again, a reminder of what we did with stimulus money. That's really important. You use stimulus money in an economic downturn to stimulate the economy. We did that. And the result today is this really successful initiative that you're all witnessing and standing on. But I want to thank Charlie Baker, because after we talked to Scott Bosworth, I always had a chance to talk to Governor Baker. And he was a full partner in this endeavor. This called for extra expenditure, and without any qualm or quarrel, he embraced our position. He's here in Western Mass frequently. I was with him for the State of the State the other night when he was talking about transportation needs. The two of us have had a discussion about the rail study. He's open-minded about where we're going to head with improved east-west rail service. He spoke of broadband, which is a big Western Mass issue. He spoke of education and health care. And I thought, after I listened to his comments the other night, how much we would find ourselves in Western Massachusetts and Central Massachusetts in agreement with him. Dominic Sarno, every time I spoke with him, including the day after he got elected mayor, when I said to him, Mr. Mayor, we can get Union Station off the ground, we just need a lift from you. He said, I'm in. And sure enough, he was. And so he stayed with us repeatedly. The largest tenant who just arrived, by bus, not by train, Peter Picknelli, his office space downstairs, I hope we would all get a chance to look at what he's done as a tenant there. Pretty superb for those of us standing on this platform today. So without the governor's help, this platform would not have gotten underway. It's transformative. People will not have to walk across the track. For those that need handicapped accessibility, you're going to be able to come through the concourse, jump on the elevator, and make your way to the platform. And as I used Connecticut Rail just 3 days ago, went down to meet with them, as I noted earlier, they're as bullish on east-west rail service as anybody. So thanks, Governor, thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thanks to all of you who have made this day possible. Thank you.
In case you didn't hear with the trains going by, the congressman had great things to say about Governor Baker and myself. We appreciate that. If you get a chance, please, family-owned and one of the top bus lines in the nation, Peter Picknelli is here, and he's been a fantastic tenant and very philanthropic to the city of Springfield, and of course his sidekick, Andy East. So if you're ever looking for a Venus Schnitzel and a poo-poo platter, go down to the fort. Appreciate you guys being here. Isn't that a great introduction for you, Governor? Thank you. You like that, huh? It'll be good. It'll be good. Governor Baker has been a fantastic friend, not only to me in the city of Springfield, Western Mass, but the whole Commonwealth. He is here, as Congressman Neal alluded to very frequently, just a phone call away, just as Richie is. And we're able to work together in a bipartisan fashion to get things done. So this was key with Platform C with MassDOT through Governor Baker, Scott Bosworth, Secretary Pollock. Their word is their bond, and now we've finished this, and he's been a great partner, and he gets it as a congressman does, a good four-letter word, and for you skiers, it's not snow, jobs, J-O-B-S, because that makes for a better community for each and every one of us. So put your hands together for Mr. Girl Scout Cookie himself, Governor Charlie Baker.
So note to self, in the future, don't schedule press conferences at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon if you expect any of the folks behind me to be completely straight-laced about the whole thing. Let me just start with this. First of all, this is a partnership, and we have all treated it as a partnership over the course of the last 5 years. The feds have an enormous role to play in this. The city has an enormous role to play. Congress has an enormous role to play. MassDOT has a big role to play. And we all get the fact that to do what has been done here, to bring a storied facility back into productive use, everybody's got to play. And that means resources, time, focus, and attention. Because if you don't have all of those things, you're not going to be able to get to where you need to go, because this is complicated. And I was saying to the chair, Congressman Neal, when we were riding up in the elevator, I said, I remember having conversations with our folks about what it was going to take to actually fix that elevator. And yeah. There's a lot of conversations you have when you get into very old properties that are painful. But at this point, the state's investment in all of the stuff that's gone on here, from the first floor up to this platform and all the way in between, some of the work on the tracks as well, is about $80 million. And and then you tag that to the work that was done, again, on a partnership basis by all the folks who've been involved here to make the north-south thing a little more frequent and a little more available to more people in Western Mass. That's a big step. And as I've said to many people, we're currently doing what I would describe as the first detailed options analysis on east-west that's been done. And we have a great... It's always nice to talk about things at 60,000 feet, because you can just imagine what they look like on the ground. You don't actually have to find any facts. But if you want to do a real study, you actually have to get into what it's like at the treetop level and down on the ground. What's it going to cost? How's it going to work? How many players are going to be involved? How many elements are going to be required? That's what an options analysis looks like. And serious people do options analysis. And we really appreciate the advisory group that we've been working with here, which has about 25 members on it. And kudos to them. It's 25 people who all have lots of points of view and different opinions and are still talking to each other. And I think round 2 of the analysis on this is probably going to be available sometime in February. Am I right about that? Yeah, okay. Sure. And then they'll take a bite at that analysis, and we'll go back and do work based on the feedback we get from them on that. But, you know, from where I sit, to be able to have a conversation about options analysis on east-west, a lot of the investment that we've been making here needed to happen. And I think one of the things that's most important about this is the progress that's been made here has taken a, you know, glorious old building and brought it to the point where you can actually start to think about it again as a vibrant part on a daily basis of this community and Western Mass. And that makes it easier to start having a conversation about how you do an east-west thing. If we hadn't done all the work we've done over the last 5 or 6 years to get to where we are now, we'd be having that conversation as opposed to the one about what happens after that. And again, a lot of people have put a lot of work into this, and we really appreciate the partnership, and we get the fact that a lot of this is a grind. But if I've learned anything over the time I've spent in public life, most of the things that sit fallow for a long period of time sit fallow because to do something with them will be a grind, and it will take a long time, and a whole bunch of people have to participate and step up and find the time to focus on it, to actually follow through and get it done. And in this particular case, you have a lot of partners on this one who are committed to getting it done, committing to find a way to get the work done, and are willing to put the focus and the energy into getting from here to there. And this platform is just one more piece of the puzzle. And as Mayor Sarno said, there's no question that the head of the class on this is definitely Congressman Neal, who has been a huge champion of what this particular place and space in Springfield can be all about. So thank you very much. We're pleased to be here. Okay.
1, 2, 3. All aboard.